Kate Bush stuck in my head whenever I think about Palm Springs.
Why?
Because it ends with the song Cloudbuster.
Oh.
Great song.
Gotcha. Interesting.
Marco did not really find this interesting. What is the feature-length podcast? Anyone?
The feature-length podcast is a show where three idiots talk about film and entertainment.
Good answer.
Hey guys, what's up?
Hey, are you talking to us?
Yeah. I'm talking to the voices in my head.
Like, I truly don't know. It felt like a fever dream. I swear to God, I could not
It sounds
make
so
this shit
stupid
up.
hearing that.
If you're listening to this is a podcast.
Welcome back to the feature-length podcast.
Welcome back to the feature-length podcast.
Welcome back to the feature-length podcast, a podcast where we talk about movies and TV for a feature length of time. Picture this. You wake up on the morning of your girlfriend's best friend's wedding. You have some mediocre sex, you lounge by the pool, the wedding happens, there's an earthquake, you go to the reception, and repeat. Welcome to the world of Max Barbaco's Palm Springs, released in 2020 and starring Andy Samberg and Cristin Milioti, featuring J.K. Simmons, Peter Gallagher, and Camila Mendez. It's my pick and the final film of our second selection series. So welcome to the feature-length podcast where we're going to talk about it. I'm Karolina, and with me, as always, are Dan.
Hello.
And Marco.
Hello.
And yeah, so we're going to talk about the movie. I've seen it, and previous to having to record this episode, Dan and Marco haven't, which isn't that surprising since it just came out last year. But what were your thoughts?
You want me to go first?
Sure, Dan, go for it.
I really like this movie. I very much enjoyed it. It was a nice like change on the Groundhog Day trope.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big fan of Groundhog Day as a movie, and this was definitely different enough while still being like enjoyable for the reasons that movie's enjoyable. I also get a kick out of indie movies. I don't know if this is technically an indie movie, but I'm gonna call it an indie movie because it feels like that.
It's a Marco indie movie.
By Marco's definition.
By Marco's definition of indie.
But anyway, I was just gonna say I get a kick out of indie movies that are sci-fi movies because they usually just have a little nugget of a concept that is sci-fi, and then the rest is played like a regular drama or comedy or rom-com, whatever.
Yeah.
And this is an example of that. It is a rom-com sci-fi, but only vaguely a sci-fi because of this like time, this abstract
being
timeless
stuck
idea.
in a time loop,
So I really like indie movies that tackle that because the rest of it just plays out very raw and simple and enjoyable. So yeah, I love this movie. It's great.
Good. Yeah, I also really enjoyed this movie. I was very shocked that that's what the premise was.
Oh, did you know nothing about it?
No, I knew
going
nothing
into
about
it?
it.
I didn't
fun.
either, for the record.
I didn't either.
It was a
fun.
surprise. I thought it was just going to be
cool.
a straight rom-com.
Oh, great. That's awesome. I wouldn't throw you guys, I mean, I would throw you guys into a straight rom-com, but, you know,
Yeah.
sci-fi's
Well,
fun.
we've done straight rom-coms on the show, too.
Yeah.
But that came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it did come out of nowhere. I will say, like, I'm not sure exactly when, but there was, like, to some degree during, like, that first day before J.K. Simmons shows up. But, like, at some point during that first day of them, like, being together, like, at the wedding, where I was kind of like, like, is this going to be... Because I did see in the description it was, like, a sci-fi thing, and I was like, what the fuck, sci-fi? So then... And then just the way, like, Andy Samberg was acting, I was like, oh, I wonder if there's going to be, like, a weird time travel thing here. And then, like, J.K. Simmons showed up and was trying to kill him, and I was like, yeah, there's definitely some fucked up shit. Also, yeah, I mean, I just love seeing J.K. Simmons in anything.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
Incredible.
I didn't know he was in this movie.
He's literally never given a bad performance in his life. This dude is on top of it. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. I do think it was also a fun play on that trope, which is also a trope that I enjoy, like the Groundhog Day trope. There's a great episode of Star Trek,
Of course.
The Next Generation, that uses that trope, and it's one of my favorites because that's actually a sci-fi show, so they really get into like a weird sci-fi thing with it, and it's cool. There's also, I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Happy Death Day.
No, I haven't.
I would strongly recommend it.
Really?
It's really good, and
Yeah.
it's just this. And I remember seeing it in the trailer in the theater and being like, oh, like a horror movie with this trope. But it's really, really good. It's really fun. It reminds me a lot of this in so much as, like, it makes fun of the trope as it's going through the trope.
Yeah.
But not in like a dumb way, like in like an intelligent way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really enjoy this movie. It's funny. It's heartfelt. It's all the good things that a movie should be.
Yeah, and not to derail us from the very beginning, but J.K.
Well,
Simmons.
if we're derailed from the beginning, are we even derailed?
Yeah, we're not even on the rails yet. So
True.
let's just establish new rails.
So J.K. Simmons, when did he start acting? Because I can't picture him young. You know what I
I've
mean?
never seen him not an old man. You're right.
I've only seen him bald or with a wig, clearly a wig, and just always older.
I think chronologically, the earliest movie I've ever seen him in would probably be the first Spider-Man.
Me too.
And he's pretty old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've seen him in anything in the 90s. Like, everything for me has been
Right.
2000s onward.
Well, he could have just got into the game later.
Maybe, but he's so
Some
good. That's
do that.
surprising to me
Right?
that like he would just appear one day and be like the greatest actor.
Let me look. Well,
Yeah, let's look it up.
I'll just
Because
look.
he was. I mean, he's in Juno, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like
he's-
2007.
Which is like 2007 still. Yeah, and I mean he's been in a lot of stuff since then. He's been in those like commercials for that one.
He was in
company.
Portal too. The video
He is
game.
in Portal
He's
too.
been in commercials.
Like he's been in random
that's
shit.
That's one of his like biggest.
Yeah, it's one of
titles
his
for
biggest
you.
credits. But I don't. I don't know. I don't know.
Dan just scrolling to the bottom.
Yeah.
Of
He has a
IMDb.
lot. Like, I've never
Oh.
seen any of
He
this.
must have just been in like sitcoms or something.
What's
Like
the
all of
first
the-
one?
Popeye Doyle, a TV movie. I don't know. None of these are really. Oh, he was in an M&M's TV series that I didn't know existed in the 90s.
Like the candy
Yes.
had a series. He was yellow.
how many seasons?
Just one. It looks
Oh,
like.
Wait.
Or is it ongoing?
Oh, you know what? He just does the voice of one of the M&Ms in the commercials. That's probably what that is.
And Danny DeVito.
It's him and Danny DeVito? How did I never know
What the
that?
fuck is this? Red human form.
But John Goodman used to be yellow.
Yeah, and then he took over, I guess.
What the
Also, John Lovitz.
Whoa.
All right,
Yes, we really
This is
are
a
off
rabbit
the rails.
hole. Yeah, we're gonna need to go.
but
down
what
this.
was his first like major thing? I'm trying to. What's the first thing that I recognize? Probably Spider-Man.
All roads lead back to
Oh,
Spider-Man.
Cider House Rules. I've never seen
Okay,
that.
yeah.
But that's,
Yeah,
but
that's
even
a
that's
famous movie.
1999.
Yeah, weird.
yeah, and then shortly after was Spider-Man. So.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Well,
Okay.
good for him.
Anyway,
But Palm Springs.
I have a question actually.
Yeah,
Why is this movie called Palm Springs?
because it's set in Palm Springs.
Isn't Palm Springs in LA?
Yeah.
Oh, was that in LA?
Yeah.
It looked like
Palm
it
Springs
kinda
is
looked
a
like an
desert.
Arizona desert.
Palm Springs is a desert area outside
Oh.
of like LA proper, like the city.
Okay, I was
Um,
picturing like actual
yeah.
LA. That's why I was confused.
But funnily enough, they couldn't actually film in Palm Springs because it was too expensive, so they filmed in LA.
Oh.
Nice.
And like around the area.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have guessed like Arizona desert.
Yeah, no, they filmed in LA-ish area. Well, 'cause, the movie obviously is produced by two, like directed and written by like two new up-and-coming young white men,
Nice.
who
Classic.
like came out
Classic.
of the American Film Institute. So they're pretty new and like obviously didn't have a lot of money to make it since they are like so young and up and coming.
And white.
And they don't have money.
No, I
'cause
know.
they're
I
white.
just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah.
But yeah, so they kind of just had to play with the budget. Like probably like paying Andy Samberg and stuff to be in it was the most money they spent.
And J.K.
stuff.
Simmons.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not a good cast for an indie movie.
well, because it sucks because it did come out in 2020, so their box office was tiny.
Yeah.
It was like I can't do big numbers. 765,000 ish was their box
Oh.
office, and their budget was $5 million. But at the
Wow.
same time,
Wow, so they like flopped.
But it premiered at Sundance in January 2020, and it was they hold the record for the biggest sale of a film at Sundance,
That's cool.
making $17 million.
Oh,
They
okay,
beat the
okay.
previous record by 69 cents.
Nice.
What was the previous one?
Okay, well, 17,500,000 was the previous record, so they sold it for 17,500,069 cents.
Nice, but who? Obviously,
I don't
Joe,
know. I
but
don't know
do you
the
know what
million.
movie it
No,
was? Okay.
I don't know the million. I don't know the movie. No.
I don't know the million. Interesting.
Well, I'm glad they made their money back at least. And then
Yeah. So the box office didn't do well, but they sold it for a
After
bunch,
the
and
fact.
then Hulu premiered it, and it set the record for their biggest opening weekend. They netted more hours watched over its first 3 days than any other film in the platform's history. Because I don't know why, but I do remember, and the reason I watched this film is because when it came out, all over Twitter, and even mentioned in a handful of podcasts I listened to, hosts just kept talking about this film, and I was so confused because I hadn't heard anything about it, because it is this smaller indie random film. So I was like, that's so weird, I need to watch it. And then I did and was delighted. Obviously I had to wait for it to come out on Prime because we're not American. So that kind of sucks.
Thank Christ. But no, I also had the same experience where everyone I knew was talking about it, and I was like, what the fuck is this movie that everyone's talking about?
But I watched it and I get it, because as we mentioned, it is just a Groundhog Day scenario, but the difference is that you start already in the Groundhog Day with a character who's been in it for an undetermined amount of time.
Yeah.
In interviews, the writers say it could be anywhere between 40 years and 40 million. They don't even know how long they planned for him to be in there. So that's kind of the newness they brought to it, instead of someone entering it and that being our introduction to the loop. So we kind of get introduced to it from Cristin and Milioti's perspective. But I found it interesting because, at least in Groundhog Day proper, you don't really know how it starts. In this, you literally walk through a portal. You know what I mean? I thought that was super unique and weird and interesting.
And I also like that it wasn't like in Groundhog Day where you find love and that just gets you out of it.
Yeah, they had to use actual science.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. It's very cool.
This movie's... Sorry, I just want to say, this movie's kind of like if the character from Groundhog Day never got out of the loop, and this is his...
Yeah.
This is him, jaded now.
Yes.
Yeah. It reminded me, Andy Samberg, in terms of how he acts in the movie and even some of the conversations they have. It almost reminded me of, when you're playing a video game or whatever, and you've played it a million times.
Yeah.
And so now you just you don't even have to think about it. You can just go in and be then I gotta do this thing and this thing and that thing and whatever.
Speedrunners.
He's basically a speedrunner when you think about it. For the day. And how sometimes he'll just be fuck it, and just do something weird just because he can, because he's played it so many times. Yeah, it very much had those vibes in it, which I thought was a cool take on the whole situation.
Yeah, I now that you say that, it does kind of feel like playing Grand Theft Auto. There is a story mode, and you can sign up, and I obviously don't actually really play video games, but you can do tasks, or you can just fuck around. Yeah. And he chooses pretty much always to just fuck around, because of course, why wouldn't you? Nothing you do has consequences, other than if you really hurt yourself, because you can still feel pain. But regardless, everything else has no consequences, so why not? I'd do the same thing. I'm stuck in a time loop.
Yeah, it makes sense.
See what I can do every day.
See what you can get away with. Yeah. It's cool.
I wouldn't say he got away with most of the stuff. He did piss off everyone there. But
but it always resets.
Matter.
Yeah. He loads to the last checkpoints.
Which is the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, and there was also that movie with Tom Cruise that was like this.
Really?
Not a rom-com, but it was a sci-fi... I don't remember what it was called.
Oh, really? I don't know. Oh, Live, Die, Repeat, or Edge of Tomorrow is what it was called when it first came out. Yeah,
that's another...
Wait,
I forgot to mention.
Emily Blunt. Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt.
Wait, Live, Die, Repeat?
Okay, so when it came out, it was called Edge of Tomorrow, but then
I've heard of that.
They rebranded it as Live, Die, Repeat
When?
on Blu-ray.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, because Live, Die, Repeat...
You can do that?
Well, here's the thing. Live, Die, Repeat was the tagline.
Okay.
It was called Edge of Tomorrow, but then on the posters it would say Live, Die, Repeat. That was the tagline. But I guess in marketing afterwards, they were Edge of Tomorrow sounds more like a fucking drama or rom-com or something, whereas Live, Die, Repeat is literally what happens in the movie. It's a time loop thing.
Yeah.
So on Blu-ray they started calling it that. And similarly, Ghostbusters 2016 did a similar thing. So Ghostbusters 2016, which was the all-female reboot, was just called Ghostbusters, but on the posters it said Answer the Call.
Oh
Yes.
yeah,
And
then it
now
turned
on all the
into-
Blu-rays it says Ghostbusters Answer the Call. That's how they've
Oh.
rebranded it.
And I think that was
yeah.
probably partially also so you could say Ghostbusters and not have to specify which one you're referring
Yeah.
to.
Correct. I also think that was a factor in it.
But I mean, who really says I'm talking about Ghostbusters Answer the Call rather than the female Ghostbusters?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They should have just called it the female Ghostbusters.
Drop the
It's cleaner. Female Ghostbusters.
I can't believe I didn't get that reference yesterday.
I mean, I
'Cause that
think
was
it's
so
because you
good.
didn't sleep.
Yeah, it's true. I think if you had had a full night's sleep, or any sleep at all, but
A night's sleep.
I do appreciate though that the new Batman movie is the Batman.
Yeah.
Because now when I say Batman, I don't have to say Batman 89 or Batman 20, whenever the fucking movie comes out, because it's probably going to be delayed.
2020 blank.
Yeah, 2020 blank. But
22 question mark,
Yeah.
2 question mark.
We don't even know what century it's
Yeah.
coming out
Who
in.
knows? Who knows at this point? Yeah.
But Palm Springs.
Yeah.
back to that movie. Okay, so part of the storyline involves Cristin Milioti's character. I didn't rewatch this in the last week or two. I watched it like 3 weeks ago, so I don't remember anyone's character names.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know.
I remember Nyles only because of the Frasier.
Weird.
Frasier.
Weird name, right?
Yeah,
is a weird
I've
name.
only ever heard it in Frasier in this.
Me too.
Is her name like Sarah or something? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I can look it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll look it up, but
Okay. I'll look it up.
So yeah, Cristin Milioti, whatever her name is, she has some family drama. What did you guys think about that?
I really enjoyed it.
Did you see it coming?
No, like her waking
Sarah,
up
it is.
next
Yeah.
to
Sarah. Okay, nice.
Teller Hutchinson,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah, yeah.
the guy. I did not see that coming.
neither.
But I
Right?
thought that was a very
At all.
nice plot twist.
Yes,
Right.
and it's cool that they kind of foreshadowed it when the parents were looking for her and couldn't find her in her room.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really smart, fun twist, and I also love that he found out because he knows the scent of her hair mist or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yes.
How
Because he's
romantic.
just been there so many times. He knows every
Yeah.
detail about everyone apparently.
But even like it was a cool twist, but I also like how it was revealed because
Mhm.
we've seen her wake up before,
Yeah.
but it was only that time in the middle of the movie when they chose to reveal it that we see what room she wakes up in.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yes. And it's also cool because I feel like whenever in all of these types of movies, like the wake up thing is always like the frustration of like having to relive the day, but
Yeah.
this is the first time where it's like you literally are waking up in like the worst moment of your entire life every day.
Yeah.
So like it adds that whole other layer to it, which is
Yeah,
cool.
and like comparing this to like Groundhog Day, for example. Groundhog Day, once you get the premise, it kind of does that for the rest of the movie
Yeah.
until it ends.
Yeah.
But this movie kept like hitting you with like that. This wasn't the only surprise. Wasn't that there was a time loop? There
Yeah.
were more
Mm-hmm.
like shocking moments, at least for me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
I felt it like escalated nicely.
Well, yeah, because without it, you'd just have these two characters falling in love. I guess J.K. Simmons also is another wrench. You'd have to deal with him in some way.
So good.
But it would be kind of boring that way. But because she is waking up in like just, yeah, like you said, the worst moment of her life. She
Yeah.
slept with her sisters. Literally,
Fiancé.
the next day
Yeah.
will be husband.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, was that guy? He's the Superman guy in the series, right?
Yeah, he is.
He is?
Yeah, so
TV
fun
series?
fact, it's funny that him and Camila Mendez get married because they're both on the CW.
Yeah,
so she is in Riverdale,
Of
worst show of all
course.
time, but he's in. So there was the CW Supergirl show that he first guest starred in as the CW Superman in a few episodes.
Oh.
But now they've started their own show called Superman and Lois.
Right.
Oh. Okay.
Which is apparently really good, like beyond CW good. Like there's like
Yeah.
CW good, but like The Flash is CW good.
Gilmore
like
Girls.
Gilmore Girls, Flash season
Oh,
1.
yeah, those CW.
Yeah, those are all like CW good, but like apparently Superman and Lois is like next level, like
Like
actually
Marvel
good.
level.
Probably not Marvel level, let's be honest, but
Okay.
you know somewhere in between. It's just good. Like it's just you don't have to put the asterisk next to it. Like it's good.
Maybe
From what
like
I've heard.
Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Yeah, probably like a Falcon Winter
Okay.
Soldier level of like this is solid.
Good for them.
Yeah, good for them. And he, from what I've seen of him, like he actually is a pretty good Superman. I dig his Superman. Yeah, he's a good actor. But yeah, just funny that two CW stars are the people getting married in this.
I didn't know she was too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, they had to color correct his abs in the scene where it's revealed that they slept together and he's in the shower, because it was too distracting.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's also really interesting because I guess because this was Hulu's biggest release ever, they also then released later on a commentary version of the film only on Hulu, so we'll never freaking get to watch it. I guess unless I buy it on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever.
Yeah.
DVD.
Everyone's favorite
VHS.
medium, DVD.
You remember HD DVD?
Yes, I do.
But yeah, so they released a commentary version of the movie on Hulu with Andy Samberg, Cristin Milioti, Max Barbaco, and Andy Sierra. Is that his name? The writer. Yeah, I got it. So there's a lot of those little cute fun facts.
Nice.
Andy Samberg said he read the script and decided he had to do it when it was revealed that he gets shot mid-coitus with an arrow
from a crossbow, or is it a crossbow?
I think it's a crossbow.
Yeah.
But yeah, which is fair. I feel like that's a pretty good moment to be okay, yeah, this movie's gonna get weird. I really do it.
That's sorry to cut you off.
No, go ahead. I didn't have anything else to say. I was just finding a way to end a sentence.
Let me do that for you. It's so weird though because, I saw in the credits at the end of the movie that he didn't write it. So I guess in the back of my mind I knew that, but the whole time I was watching, I was kind of picturing because him in the Lonely Island. This is a Lonely Island production too.
Yeah.
And they've written movies before, so the whole time I was watching, I kind of imagined it just being written by them because it kind of felt that way.
It does, yeah.
It had that weird tone. So that's weird, talking about how he had no input in the writing process.
Well, I think after he signed on, he helped with some writing.
Maybe made some changes.
Yeah, just a little bit because there's a note about how the movie ends, just skipping right to the end, why not? Before they exit the time loop, they kiss to Kate Bush's cloud busting. And it says, at least on IMDb in the fun facts, it said that Andy Samberg had it written into the script prior to approval and personally wrote a letter to Kate Bush to try to secure the rights for its use in the film. So I guess once he did sign on, he did another pass before they actually had a shooting draft.
It makes sense because he definitely feels like him.
Yeah, and especially since this is the writer-director duo's second time writing a bigger film that they probably wanted the guidance from someone as huge and prolific as Andy Samberg. So.
Yeah. Have you guys seen any of the Lonely Island produced movies?
I was just gonna say I keep meaning to watch Popstar.
It's so good
because I've heard it's so good and I really want to watch it. It looks so never stopping.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, if it was never stop stopping, you would stop.
Well, yeah, okay. That's true.
I did appreciate when in this one where they do the Lonely Island pictures production company thing, they do it like the Sony Pictures Classic before an indie film, just the way the logo was made. That made me laugh. I was
you think that was a stab at Sony?
I think it was a stab at Sony and just the idea that Sony has a separate brand for prestige good movies. Fuck you. Why would you
Oh, really?
Yeah, Sony Pictures, they have their regular Sony logo
for their shit Venom movies.
Well, for their normal movies, but then they have their Sony Pictures Classics, which is a separate organization, I guess.
I've never even noticed that.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah. But anyway. Also, another thing I really appreciate in this film is that they made their own beer. I don't know why. Probably, if they didn't want to buy the rights, and it's so heavily featured. Because what else do you do when you relive the same day?
Yeah.
Well, 'cause you're not going to get liver damage. You're not even going to be hungover.
Yeah,
and you'd
true.
have that case of beer, you'd wake up to that free case of beer every day.
Yeah.
You never have to buy any.
Literally. But so they made their own beer and they went through the trouble of giving it a name, Akupara, I don't know. But in Sanskrit it means unlimited and unbounded, and in Hinduism it's the name of a tortoise described as one who is without death. So if you look closely on the label, there's a graphic that kind of explains the mythology of the world and the earthquake. So literally, if in the first scene for some reason you decided to zoom into the beer and assume that the beer would tell you exactly what the movie's about, you could have known before you really knew.
That's cool.
The answers were right there all along.
You just didn't know where to look.
Yeah.
And you need to know Sanskrit, but if you can check off all of those boxes,
you'll be good.
Yes.
But yeah, what did you guys think of the dinosaurs?
I had a question about that.
Yeah.
I don't really know what that was supposed to mean. Like, was it just a mushroom trip?
I don't either. But you see them again at the end.
So maybe, yeah, but I wasn't sure if that was just like it wasn't actually there. It was just sort of like symbolizing because they're together now, and that's like, I don't know. I wasn't really sure.
That's
I
the
have
thing.
no idea.
I assumed it was a mushroom trip because obviously they first see the dinosaurs when they're on mushrooms. Duh. That makes sense. Totally checks out. But when I did see it again at the end, I was just confused. And even when I was trying to look it up, like obviously people write like op-eds and think pieces and whatever the hell, but like the writers never told you what it's supposed to mean. And even for the end, they wrote so many different endings because they didn't even know how they wanted it to end. Because obviously, like, Andy or like Nyles and Sarah have gone through so much together, you like want them to end up together in the end and for everything to like be fine. But they didn't want to make it as explicit as that, in that they like leave together and like start a family or whatever. Like they are together at the end in a pool hanging out. But you don't know if they will like date forever or keep in touch. And so I think, I don't know if like the dinosaurs are just also to keep it, I don't know, ambiguous. I have no idea.
I do wish, like, so obviously the whole point of this movie was to, like, a story of a couple coming together.
Yeah.
Through this scenario. But I wish they did go the direction of deciding they didn't even care about ending it, like just they wanted to just live out that day, kind of like, because when we had the scene with J.K. Simmons explaining how he's made peace with it, I thought that was going to be what Andy Samberg had to work towards at the end of the movie, so they would end up just living out their days in this loop.
You would have rather that than them leaving?
I mean, based on where I thought the movie was going, I felt that would have been a more like natural ending to it.
I'm with you. Because
I think back to Groundhog Day, and that movie was like, he gets out of the loop because he stops caring about it. Like when he ends up with Andie MacDowell's character, I don't remember what her name is in that movie, but when they like sleep together and he finds true love in her, he like stops caring about the loop, and that's sort of what makes it go away. So I kind of wish that rather than deciding to actively end it, it either didn't end or ended as a result of them not learning to not care about it. Not that this is a bad ending. I would have preferred that, but either way, the point of the movie was that they were brought together because of this scenario.
Yeah, I think if it was just Niles and maybe like any other woman, I would think, just accepting that they're in this loop, because Niles was ready to do that, would have made sense. But I think simply because Sarah like wakes up where she wakes up, like there's no way to.
Oh, true.
There's no way to
that is
be okay with that every single morning.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point.
Like, because that's like I don't even know how she lives with that, like out of the loop now.
Yeah.
Like, because I guess that's never fully addressed.
I thought when she was giving that last speech, she was gonna tell everyone about it. Right?
Because like she tells him like not to hurt her or whatever, and like says she regrets it to him personally and stuff, and it's never gonna happen again or whatever. But yeah, I was surprised that she didn't tell her sister. I mean, she did in that one loop to try to get out of it earlier on, but yeah, I was surprised that she was just gonna keep the secret, vow to never do it again, and have that be okay. I guess that was a consequence of her waking up in that scenario so many times and realizing there's nothing to do to change it or take it back. But that is the one fault I guess I have, is that I still don't know how she could live with not telling her sister.
Yeah. And I guess you could argue that like her reliving it every day was the punishment. Yeah. Which definitely was the point, but I agree, like if I was her, I mean, I'd still have to tell someone about it. Like the punishment it's enough for us as an audience member, but I don't know how it's enough for her.
Yeah. No, exactly.
I don't know, I'm a little conflicted on the ending. Not that I hate it, but there are definitely elements of it that feel a little weird to me. I think because so much of this movie is just like an indie drama with like this weird premise behind it. Just the whole idea that like there is this like weird sci-fi, we're gonna figure out how to like scientifically get out of this at the end is
she just learns physics.
She just like it's a little like not out of nowhere. Like I get it, she's in this loop for so much time that she can spend time to learn it and figure it out. Like I do get that, but I don't know. It was just a little bit like I was expecting there to be more of a character based ending rather than let's do this task to get out of here. And, like, along the way, like, we'll give speeches about the lessons we learned or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, we'll have a conversation about the lessons that we learned, but then we just are going to blow up and do this thing, and it'll get us out of here. And then even, like, after that happens, just the very, very end of them being, like, in the pool at the house again, I thought it was going to be more of, like, an Inception ending where you don't know if they got out of the loop or not. But then the family comes home, which is funny. Like, I do like that joke. It's like, cool, now we know. This is when they come back. Like, I do like that. But, yeah, I was expecting it to be a bit more ambiguous at the end.
Especially, like, I thought the dinosaurs would have helped with the ambiguity of it. If the family didn't show up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. But, yeah, they didn't go that route. So, whatever. I mean, it's not a huge deal. But, I just thought it was a little interesting that they decided to do it that way.
And, like, the one thing I do find weird, I guess, is because obviously Sarah is the one to find out how to get out because she, like, just can't live in it anymore. And, like, of course, I respect that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I feel like we're in such a weird place for woman characters in cinema that I was almost like I watched it and like I still love this movie, and I've like, even though it came out in 2020 and I saw it for the first time less than a year ago, I think I've seen it 3 or 4 times already because I just love it, because it's just like, it's a fun thing to toss on in the background, or like if you just want to like watch a movie with a friend, like it's not gonna make you cry or anything. It's just fun to watch and laugh at. But yeah, I find it so weird sometimes when people like are hitting you over the head with like, the woman solved the problem. The woman is smart. And so like I in this film they gave her enough motivation for that, like of course it had to be her, and like it didn't feel like forced that it was like her solving it, but I don't know, just I always feel weird just watching women now and like in past movies and present movies, just to see like how treatment changes, because like any men who write movies now are just trying to be so like cautious.
Yeah. Patronizing?
Yeah, I guess like sometimes it feels patronizing, but like sometimes like in this it feels more earned, but it's just like, just talking about film in general, I feel like now I'm always thinking more about why women characters do things, and I don't know how to feel about it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel organic, you mean?
Yeah. It just feels like I need to think about it harder, and I kind of hate that.
It's a weird Pandora's box situation where now that it's like in the cultural zeitgeist,
it's like we need to respect women and give them things to do.
Yeah, it's like then it stands out.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, oh, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel organic. Like I think back to, this is an extremely off the rails pull, but you know what? Where this podcast is going, we don't need rails. Okay, we don't need rails.
We've never been on the rails.
We've never been on them. We don't need them. So, but in Aliens.
Okay.
Or Alien 2, whichever you would rather prefer.
Alien sequel.
Alien sequel.
I say Aliens.
The S stands for sequel.
The S stands for sequel. I think like Ripley in that movie, Sigourney Weaver, is like one of my favorite female protagonists ever. Mm-hmm. But it's so natural in that movie. Like it's so not in your face, but also not like, I don't know. Like it's such an incredibly natural character. Mm-hmm. Like she is clearly the protagonist and good at what she does, but it's not like, I don't know. Like I said, it just feels more like natural to the story, as opposed to I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah. Where a lot of times now it's like you get to the third act of the movie and you have to have some big like reversal where the woman is like, actually, I'm not just a woman, and it's like, okay. I think
it's usually when there are like just 2 co-leads, one man, one woman, because then it just like is explicitly like, up until now it's been all about Nyles, and then it's like, nope, now Sarah is taking over. I mean, she disappears to do it essentially, but you know, still. Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, that's just, you know, a cinema talk.
Yeah. I think it would have been better if after disappearing, she comes back, and instead of us seeing the physics course stuff that like she's taking a bunch of courses and testing out the gateway with like the goat and everything, if we just hear about that.
I wonder how the goat's doing.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the goat
disappeared.
definitely.
Yeah, it's alive, I guess.
If they're alive, I guess the goat is alive.
Yeah.
But she didn't know that at the time. But if I feel if we had just heard about that after the fact and maybe like a quick montage showing it rather than actually seeing like every step that she took, it would have been more like it would have fit in better with the rest of the movie, I think, because not that it ruins the movie at all, but I think it like Marco said, it's the most like outlying segment.
No, definitely.
So
yeah, and when she is learning, she video chats with the actual physicist that they consulted for the script.
Oh,
that's
they
cool.
consulted a physicist?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
You could not have. I would never have guessed that.
Really?
Because it's so like, it's. So, I mean, there's like
I don't know. There's like notes about quantum physics. I'm sure they didn't want that to be totally like incorrect.
True.
I honestly thought they were just like, just did a quick Google search and threw
Really?
out whatever. Like
Well,
I
I mean,
didn't.
'cause it didn't go too in depth.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I figured they
No,
didn't
they
interstellar
talked to
this
someone.
shit.
Probably not to the
What was
depths
the
of
guy's name?
Interstellar.
Yeah, they
but-
didn't create new visualization software that actually changed science and won a fucking Nobel Prize or whatever.
And predicted what black holes actually look like.
And then black holes do look like that. Yeah, they didn't do that.
They look
but-
like that because of the existence of Interstellar.
Oh man. When are we going to talk about Interstellar on this podcast?
I know.
Eventually.
Okay,
have
this
to,
year.
we
We have to,
will.
2022,
Okay.
we'll do it.
It's a goal. We'll do
Okay.
it. I want to rewatch it.
On
Me too.
our year 2 anniversary.
Aw.
That would be a good one to do, yeah.
Okay. I have a question. What was your favorite thing that they did in like one of their shenanigan days?
Shenanigan.
Yeah. What was
That's a
your
good
favorite
question.
shenanigan?
Okay, I think I know mine. Mine was their skit at the wedding.
Fuck, that's literally the one I was going to pick too.
I'm glad I answered first.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Well, do you want to talk about it then?
No, you can go for it. It counts as both our picks, Carol, because that is by far my favorite one. But
Yeah,
That was
it
the
was
one
great.
with the like pirate hook, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And the random accents as if they don't
Yeah.
know their
Yes.
sister.
Yes.
Yeah. That was great. But I also liked their dance routine
Yes.
at the restaurant.
Honorable mention. I like when they steal a plane.
Yeah.
That's ballsy. And also, why not? Like, you don't want to learn how to fly one just to see if you can
Yeah.
take it up in the
Sure.
air.
This is the most low risk flight lesson you'll ever have.
Yeah.
And I like that they have beers in hand, just because
Of
why
course.
not?
Why not? Why would you not? Of course. Absolutely.
Okay, and then I have another question. If you had to be stuck in a time loop with one of the characters from this film, other than Nyles and Sarah, who would you pick? Because we haven't really talked about them, but there are a lot of, like, there's a cast of characters, obviously, in the wedding. Like, there's the bride and groom's parents, the guy with all the drugs, Niles' girlfriend, the guy in the pool. I don't know his relation to it.
I don't either.
Oh, that we
The
see
one
at
who
the
he
beginning.
sleeps with at one point, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he
that
sleeps with
guy,
everyone
that guy,
at-
Yeah, because they
the
seem
point.
to like know each other
Yeah.
at the beginning.
So I don't know who that is. But there are, or like there's Nana Schlieffen, J.K. Simmons, I guess, if you could pick
I
him.
think I'd probably pick J.K.
I was going to
Simmons.
ask
Really?
if he's included.
Just because I feel like, I don't know, he's just so like charismatic at all times. He's just such an
Yeah,
enjoyable
even if he's trying to
person.
kill me, I like being in the same room as
Yeah.
J.K. Simmons.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'd pick the guy with the drugs, maybe.
Is
Yeah,
that the,
I mean that's a
like,
logical
Though
choice.
he had a hat on. And
The
a nice
officiant
suit.
of the
Yeah,
wedding?
yeah. The officiant of the wedding. I think that would be fun.
That's a logical
Seems
choice.
like a
Yeah,
good
like
time.
you know what? Why
Other
not?
than the drugs. But the drugs seemed cool too. Seemed
But
like
also
they had a
like
fun time
if
on
you
'em.
if you know you're gonna be fine, why not just do heavy drugs? That's
Yeah.
true. Like what else are you doing with your life?
What risk
Literally.
is there?
Yeah,
for
what
it?
exactly?
Well, even Niall said at one point, what did he take? He
Those are the mushrooms, right?
They took
Oh, wait, no.
mushrooms.
No, this is with
but-
J.K. Simmons.
Yes, him and J.K. Simmons snorted something.
Right.
It didn't seem like cocaine, just because like it seemed like they were hallucinating almost. I don't know, and it was like a different color. I don't
Oh,
know.
it might have been meth. I think he was talking about.
Because at one
doing meth
point,
at one point.
Niles mentions, I think taking meth or something else, and like flying to I don't really know where. He flew somewhere.
Oh, it was
To
somewhere
stay
in
up.
Europe, I think.
I thought it was somewhere in South America.
Or maybe it was. It was out of continent.
Yeah,
sure.
because he tried to stay up and just see how far he could get, which is respectable.
That was a question or not a question, but I wondered, like, what if you didn't sleep?
They tried.
They try, but you always.
But you have to sleep eventually.
Yeah, but if you sleep past the day, would you see new day before you fall asleep?
Yeah, because she did that at some point. She drove to her house, and it was like the next morning.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I guess whenever he flew, which we didn't see because it was like before we were introduced to the loop, but wherever he flew, I'm sure he was there for like a day or whatever, or two.
I have another science question.
Oh no. Okay.
What happens, like when you die out of sync? Because everyone, like, the next day that's in this time loop gets synced up.
Yeah.
But, like, if Andy Samberg dies, and then the girl's still alive for, like, 4 hours and then dies, how does that work with time?
Mean?
Like, do they just wake up regardless? You always wake up?
Oh, I would think so.
You know what I mean?
I guess is your question, like, where is Andy Samberg for
yes.
those 4 hours?
Where is he for those 4 hours
I
until
him just
everyone
on
dies?
The sidelines, out of existence, until it's time to wake up.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
Because I guess, like, I'm assuming that being stuck in a time loop can't really happen, but who knows?
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
But yeah, so I guess in this reality, he just ceases to exist until they're both in the next day.
Interesting.
That's what I thought. And also, like
that also happened just because, like, we see so much of it, like, every possible scenario occurs. But, like, there were times where she, like, killed herself early.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I'm just going to keep going till tomorrow then because she's out of here.
Yeah, exactly. That's what made me curious about it, because they don't really address it. But yeah, I guess it's just, you just wake up.
and also, everyone wakes up at a different time.
Yeah, because she
That's
wakes
true.
up really early.
So it's almost, another question, I guess, would be, where's the cutoff?
I know.
If you stay up and someone else dies, would you see them spawn back in their bed?
That's what I mean. I'm like, how does that? I don't know.
That's what you're talking about.
Yeah, like, I don't understand the physics
Spawn
of it
back
all.
in their bed like
well,
a
I mean, if you
video
think about it
game.
like a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, we can't know,
We
but it's just
can't-
fun
we
to think
can't
about.
know.
It is.
Weird.
It raises a lot of questions.
I did like, though, when he goes to visit J.K. Simmons after they have their talk, like, and he tells him that he's made peace with it.
Yeah.
And he's like, you want to kill me one last time? I can beat the traffic.
Yeah.
He's like, side yard, make it quick. And he's standing in, like, a recycle bin, and he's holding the
I don't want
CrossFit.
to
It's so
make it
good.
dirty.
That was cool.
That's cool.
I also
did
like
this.
how suspicious his wife is the whole time, like, looking through the curtains. Because it is weird that this random kid shows up at your house
Yeah.
who you've never seen or heard of before, because why would you have?
Yeah.
And I don't know why I laughed so hard, but, like, when he pointed out that his kid is watering dog shit on the floor, he's like, isn't that cute?
Oh, man.
Okay. Also, at one point, towards the end, the Nana says to Sarah, like, "Oh, I guess you'll be like getting out soon." Did you guys clock that and question it?
Yes,
at
I
all?
did.
Oh, yes. I thought that was going to be her older self.
Ooh.
Because the whole time thing. But I didn't know how that would work. Because if she got out, why would she still be there older?
See, what the internet says, and I found really interesting, because, like, I also clocked it, and I was like, that's a weird thing to say. But I didn't really think about it any longer than that. But apparently there's a hypothesis that Nana Schlieffen is also stuck in the time loop. But I guess because she's so old, and this was just such a happy day for her to, like...
She just doesn't leave.
Yeah, she just stays forever. And so she's probably been in there longer than Andy Samberg.
Right.
But you don't age in the time loop, right?
No.
So she went in old.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
just decides to stay there because...
Yeah, because, like, what? She's gonna... I mean, first of all, she doesn't know how to leave. Takes a lot of energy to find out how to leave, as we see.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's gonna leave and then what, like, die in a year or two because she's so
That's
old.
true.
You know?
And also that makes so much more sense with her line of, like, at the beginning of the movie, how that was the best speech she's ever heard.
And she's
she's
been
heard
to a lot of
Yeah,
weddings.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That was a
I
fun
didn't
little
put that together.
addition.
That's cool.
Yeah, reading that made me appreciate it more. So,
Yeah.
like, that's a cute detail that's, like, pretty insignificant, but just, like, fun to throw in. Because,
Mm-hmm.
like...
It expands the world a little bit.
But then the only question I have is, how and why did she end up in the desert?
Yeah,
in that cave.
I know. Yeah, it's like
This, like,
I mean-
little old lady.
What was the, yeah.
Maybe she was
She went for
on
a walk.
mushrooms too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only question, because that is like the way to enter, but still fun to think
Still
about.
fun.
Yeah.
Still cool, yeah.
Okay, but then also I have another question. Or no, I guess this wouldn't happen. So I was gonna say, what happens if any other character ends up wandering into the desert? But if the time loop ends, then I guess that wouldn't be the case.
They destroyed it,
because
yeah.
the day's over. But J.K. Simmons is still there.
Yeah.
No, but there's an end credit scene.
What?
Wait, you didn't see it?
No, there's a post-credit scene?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a mid-credit.
No,
Not at
I
the
didn't
very
stick.
end.
I would have left. I went to bed. What
So
the hell?
it
What
just
is it?
it basically lets us know that he got out
Yeah.
of the time loop. It worked for
Oh,
him.
so they just destroyed it
Yes.
straight up. Okay.
For everyone.
That's cool.
Well, no, because she leaves him a message telling him how to get out.
Oh.
So he has
Well,
to
no,
go in
but-
and blow himself up too, no?
No, because she left him a message and he went to go inquire, but then Andy Samberg didn't know who he was, so it was a fresh day. So he was out of it, he didn't know it. But that's how he found out.
Interesting.
That's what I got from it. Anyway. Like
I think for me, because it's like Andy Samberg is out, but he wasn't yet.
Yeah, so I guess that's the question. Is like if Andy Samberg gets out, then during that day is his consciousness like a fresh
maybe
new person.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that raises a lot of questions about.
Well, either way, he would know how to. He knew it worked then, and if he wanted to,
Yeah,
he could do
go
it.
and blow himself up.
So you think destroying the thing only does it for the people inside of it?
Well, because when she tries it with the goat,
Yeah.
the
Oh, and it
goat
didn't
goes
work
in
for
and
them.
blows
Yeah,
up. Because
that's
it
a good
doesn't blow
point.
up the portal itself, it just blows the person out of the loop.
True.
But
So
that-
it could happen to new people then.
That's the thing, because especially if J.K. Simmons leaves, like, in theory, if he was the last person in the loop, you would assume the loop is over and no one's left in it. But then, if we assume that Nana Schlieffen is in the loop,
Yeah.
there's opportunities for other people to get stuck in her day.
So this is fascinating to me because
It keeps us going on forever.
this post-credit scene changes everything. Because if Andy Samberg doesn't know who he is, so does that mean that like when they got out of the loop, where did they get out of the loop to? Did they get out of the
think
loop to the
after
day
that
after?
day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like they know everything that happened, but the Andy
Okay.
Samberg in J.K. Simmons'
Yes.
day is fresh.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
But-
Yeah, that's cool.
I can't
I've-
believe you didn't see that.
I can't believe I didn't see it either.
But I have another question then. So, even after, if Nana Schlieffen did get out,
Yeah.
and everyone we know was in it was out,
Yeah.
more people could still go in, right? Because the cave is still there.
Yes, just at another day, you mean?
Yes,
Like the
not in that day, but like a new
Yes.
thing could.
That's
if that
true.
wedding venue has a new wedding the next day, and other people wander into the desert
Yes.
and find it.
At any day,
Yeah.
they like it would still exist, right?
Yeah.
As long as they're. Oh, but the earthquake reveals it.
Yes.
So there has to be an earthquake to shift the rock.
Yes. But the earthquake happens on that day regardless.
But if it happens any other day, that would be another opportunity.
I guess.
Like
Sure.
theoretically, obviously, because
Yeah,
you need
yeah.
an earthquake and people to know where the cave is or
Yes.
stumble into it. But it's possible.
Yeah. But once the earthquake happens and the cave exists, then isn't it there from wedding day onward forever?
Maybe.
Because I
That's
don't know
true.
if it's just there for like 24 hours and they just were unlucky.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't really know about the
Yeah.
rules.
Yeah,
of the
that could have been the
The
first
rules
day.
of the cave. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's fun to think about.
Yeah, it is fun to think about.
Yeah. Do you guys have any other things to point out? That was all my notes, I think.
I have feelings.
I don't know if I have specific things for this movie, but I have a fun question for after we're done talking about this movie.
Is it
relate-
not about the movie?
It's not about the movie. It's just about like the topic of like Groundhog Day style
Okay,
movies. But
sure.
we can do that after because
Sure.
it's a bit derailing. So
I just took a few notes. Like, I just wrote down that speech of Andy Samberg's first speech. I really liked.
yeah,
And also the dance sequence that he had,
That
like
was so
coming
fun.
up to her for the first time.
Yeah.
I also love how in this movie, like there's so many times where he's casually grabbing things from other people.
Yeah.
Because he's so used to it. Like he walks by someone and takes their hat and puts it on.
Grabs a drink.
There's also a moment where they're about to have sex before he gets shot with the arrow. Oh, and also that was another question I had. So later in the movie, he mentions they've had sex like a million times.
Yeah.
Like it's happened a bunch.
He's been there for so long.
It must have been that scene without the arrow, like I'm assuming they would have
I mean,
continued.
they could have had sex anywhere. Because, like, he is in control of his day,
Oh,
so
yeah,
he
I
could have
guess.
just talked her into, like, going to his room or her room
That's
or
true.
the bathroom, like, literally anywhere.
That's true.
It
But
doesn't have to be specifically, like, the exact same way. Because even, like, in the scenario we see, he gets her with the speech and the dance and whatever. And he could have done that exact sequence of events before to get her to sleep with him. But he also could have got her to sleep with him in other ways. I don't know how. Waiting till she was more drunk, which would suck. Or just like, I don't know, having a normal conversation with her earlier on,
Right.
you know? There's different ways it could have happened.
yeah, but like, yeah, I guess that's true because the whole reason she had never stumbled into the cave before the night that we see is because he gets shot by
Yeah.
Roy that
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
So maybe he didn't usually go out there, and it happened to be the one night he like showed a weakness and was snuck up on by Roy. And
Well,
that-
especially Roy kills him many different times in many different ways. So Roy isn't there every night with a shotgun waiting. So he
Yeah.
also could have had sex with her in the desert, and Roy just could have not
true.
followed him
It's
into
possible.
the desert with a bow and
Crossbow.
arrow. Yeah, that day.
That's true. Yeah. But I also just want to say, in that scene, he rips open the shirt, and she's like, ha, "Nice."
I did think that was really funny.
I also just have written down, "Surprise J.K. Simmons." Couldn't believe it. Was glad to see him. Man, that bow and arrow scene really came out of nowhere.
Dude, it is one of the funniest things because it's just like, what the fuck is happening?
Because that's the point. Up until then, it seems like just a rom-com.
Yeah.
Like any old rom-com. And then that's the turning point. And there's a line. So we haven't mentioned that Nyles' girlfriend is like a horrible
Terrible person, yeah.
And when
Her speech.
when
Just
Sarah
ends.
yeah. When Sarah barges in that first time though to wake him up, and she's like, "What's going on?" She's like, "Are you cheating on me?" And he's like, "No, you're cheating on me, you goof."
That's one of my faves, yeah.
What's the deal with the dinosaurs? We already talked about
Yeah.
that. And then yeah, like realizing the twists were foreshadowed was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they threaded that in ahead of time to like prepare you for it. It was just cool, like retroactively pointing it out
Yeah.
in your memory.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there are some really beautiful shots in this movie.
Yeah,
I love the color palette of the movie too.
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought it was really nice. A lot of like sunset shots.
Mm-hmm.
The overall, I guess like visuals of this movie remind me a lot of, I think it's called Ingrid Goes West.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you guys seen that movie? Both
Yeah.
of
I
you?
have not.
It's really good.
I've seen the poster and I'm obsessed with Aubrey Plaza. So I'll watch
Well,
it
and
eventually.
Elizabeth Olsen is in it too.
Yeah.
I'm more obsessed with Aubrey
And
Plaza. To be honest.
Fair enough.
fake Captain America.
And fake Captain America.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Whoa.
I would highly recommend it. I
It's a
watched
good
it
movie.
like 3 years ago maybe, and I was like, "Oh, this is really good," and I
Yeah,
would like to go
I
back
heard
to
good
it. So
things.
maybe we'll talk
Oh,
about
and
it.
Ice Cube's son,
Yeah.
Oh,
O'Shea
yeah.
Jackson.
And he's
Jr.
like, isn't he like obsessed with Batman in
Yes.
that movie? Yeah.
Oh, that's so
It's
fun.
a really good movie. I
It's
would
cool.
I would strongly recommend.
Maybe
Yeah.
I'll watch
But-
it while I'm here. I got nothing else. to
Yeah.
do.
Visually though, they remind me a lot
Yeah,
of each
yeah.
other. I don't know if they're supposed to take. I don't remember where Ingrid Goes West takes place. Probably in LA, like
Oh,
generally.
it's gotta be.
Somewhere in the West, no?
I don't remember why it's called.
It's definitely LA because it's about an influencer.
Yeah.
So
Well, because even I think the poster has like neon palm trees and stuff.
Yes. Yes.
That's-
That's definitely what
yeah.
it is. Yeah.
that's the whole vibe. This movie too that I
Yeah.
get aesthetically.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah, it's
very
cool.
well shot.
Yeah. It is cool.
And then the last note that I have was just like this movie tackles much heavier themes than I was expecting.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I liked it.
But it still feels pretty light
And
throughout.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's why it's a good just like put it on in the background because like nothing about it's gonna bum you out. You don't have to think about it too hard. Like obviously we did in this conversation, but like if you don't want to
the
think
sci-fi
about like
stuff,
yeah
you mean?
physics and sci-fi, you don't have to, and it's just like a silly little thing to pop in the background.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a good time.
Yeah, it was definitely a good time.
Yeah. What was your
Well,
question?
obviously this trope has been used so much in like every medium ever. I was just
Sure,
gonna ask if
yeah.
you guys have any like favorites of this trope, like that stand out to you as like
The
TV
time
show
loop trope?
episodes, yeah, or movies, whatever. Because I have a few that stand out to me as my favorite. This one is up there now as like one of my favorites.
Yeah, me too.
But if you guys have other ones that stand out to you,
There's a Wikipedia article just of lists of films featuring time loops.
Cool.
I wonder if there's a just like list of media featuring time loops, because I can't think of any off the top of my head, but obviously like I know that it's in everything.
It's in everything. So a few, I'll start off if you guys want to think about or
please.
research some, but a few that stand out to me, obviously I said Happy Death Day just because it's so fun of like inside of the horror movie. It's not stupid, it is kind of fun, and it also has fun twists about like how to get out of the loop, where that isn't what you're expecting, like it twists on itself, so it's cool. Happy Death Day 2 is one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen in my life. Because it goes full sci-fi. Like the first one...
The second one? Really?
Yeah. The first one is a fun horror movie with like this weird element. But the second one is like, there's like a fucking science experiment. I was like, what is that? It's really bad. But the first one's good. So that stands out to me. Obviously the episode of Star Trek from season 5. I forget what it's called now. But it's season 5 of Next Generation. Also highly recommend that one.
Just out of context, like... Just watch that episode.
Yeah, you absolutely don't need to watch anything else. You can just watch that episode. Actually, I think it may have been the first episode of Next Gen I ever saw.
Oh.
Because while I was watching the original series, my dad just had Next Gen on TV one day, and it was that episode. And I was like, this is cool. And then when I watched Next Gen, like, fully, I got to that episode again, and I was like, it's still cool.
Oh,
also, a character in this is named Nyles, and in that episode, surprise Kelsey Grammer shows up.
Oh.
In that episode of Star Trek, yeah. So
surprise Kelsey Grammer.
Frasier.
Just like a one episode cameo sort of thing.
It's really unfortunate. I thought he was gonna stick around, but Next Gen didn't really have like arcs. Every once in a while they would have two-parters, but most of the episodes are standalone. So yeah, he just kind of shows up and then it's never addressed again. But it was cool. And then a final shout out to that episode of The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
What episode?
I think it was The Sweet Life on Deck, not Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, but it was the sequel series where they're crossing the international date line.
Yes.
And that episode also has a time loop. Cody ends up in a time loop.
Yeah.
And I just remember watching that a lot as a kid and being like, I really like this.
I also remember that.
So, yeah.
Oh my god. I have an answer. It's actually something I watched recently and kind of forgot about till you asked, and then I looked at the Wikipedia article of lists of films featuring time loops.
Too.
Yeah, it's this movie called The Final Girls. I don't know if you guys have
Oh,
heard
I
of
heard
it.
about that.
No.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, I just randomly saw it on Netflix sometime, I think in October, because I was looking for something vaguely, spooky. And so it's about a girl whose mother acted in this, like, series of horror films, kind of Friday the 13th-esque.
Slasher.
Like it's like a slasher, and they're also at, like, a summer camp.
Okay, very Friday the 13th.
Yes. It is, I think, just supposed to be a Friday the 13th parody. So her mother acted in those films, but she unfortunately died tragically. And there's a group of people who are obsessed with the films and want to do a showing in her mother's honor. And they convince her to come, even though she's really upset and doesn't want to go. And the movie theater ends up burning down during the showing, and they go through the screen and end up getting stuck in the film. Kind of. So she sees her mother acting in this film, and it restarts every 92 minutes because that's the runtime of the film.
Nice.
And so it's her, the daughter, stuck with a couple of her friends, and her friend's brother who's obsessed with the films and knows every plot point of it. And so it's they need to find out how to get out, and she's trying to save her mother at the same time, even though it's just a movie type deal. It's really interesting, and it's funny because it has Adam Devine and
Nice.
Thomas Middleditch, who is kind of problematic.
Yeah, he's
Oh, really? What did he do?
There was just some weird allegations against him on the set of Silicon Valley, unfortunately. Apparently a lot of the men on there, along with TJ Miller, obviously, were just creepy and forceful and, just not great, which is a little sad. But yeah, I also has Nina Dobrev randomly and Alexander Ludwig from, Hunger Games fame. He was Kato, District 1. I'm so sorry to any Hunger Games heads who might be listening. I can't believe I said Kato was from District 1. I knew it was one of the richer districts. He's actually from District 2. I went on the Google and discovered that while editing. So, sorry. Although mostly this is for my own sake because I hate being wrong. Okay, back to the episode.
I don't know even one word you just said.
I only
Wait, did
saw
you
the
guys
first
not watch
two.
Hunger Games?
I absolutely did
Only
not
the
watch
first
it.
two.
What? You missed it? Hunger Games?
Well, yeah, because it's just a YA Harry Potter ripoff, like everything was in that era. So I didn't watch any of
But
it.
you weren't obsessed with it?
No, because I saw the original. I saw the original YA fiction, and then Hunger Games and Maze Runner and all this other shit came out, and I was like, cool.
Oh, what was
Yeah,
the
but so
Divergent.
But
I was
so
like,
many
yeah.
other people like just loved them all and accepted them all with open arms.
Yeah, not me, because I have taste.
Okay, Marco. I mean, this podcast might be able to prove otherwise.
Yeah, no, I have taste.
But anyway, yeah. So Final Girls is my answer. It's fun.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What did they see during the credits in the movie?
They didn't get to the credits, and it was just like the end of the film. The last person dies type deal.
Oh, after the cut to
yeah,
the credits?
and then
Okay.
it just starts, and
Nice.
they're on the same road, and like the bus of campers is coming in again.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
I have a few. I just Googled the list to make sure, like, to remind me of the ones I've seen that involve time loops. I've seen Source Code. That was pretty cool.
I haven't seen
I
that.
never saw that one, but isn't that Jake Gyllenhaal?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's like on a train and he has to defuse a bomb and he keeps
Oh, nice.
restarting.
Wow.
Looper.
Yeah,
is
that's a good
movie.
one.
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
I've also seen. I'll say Groundhog Day.
Yes.
We've mentioned it
Yeah.
already, but that's a
The
good one.
classic,
It's
yeah.
good.
Oh, I haven't seen Donnie Darko. Apparently
Me
that's,
either.
Me either.
That's one.
I watched Donnie Brasco, and for the longest time I thought that was Donnie Darko, and then I was like, no,
The
they're
mob movie.
Yeah, it's a mob movie, and then I was like, no, they're totally different movies.
Oh my god.
I haven't seen.
The Butterfly Effect is also on that list.
Yeah, I saw that. I haven't
which-
seen the movie.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
actually
haven't
really like it. I mean, I saw it once and don't really remember it, but I remember enjoying it when I watched it. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Nice.
That's
Um,
Ashton Kutcher, right?
Yeah, yeah. Love,
oh,
love that guy.
Kelso.
have you guys heard of the movie Frequency?
No.
No.
So it's a movie about a guy who finds a radio frequency where he can talk to his dead father, like in the
Oh.
past when he's a
Okay.
kid, and he has to save his life.
Oh,
Oh, that's kind of a cool premise.
Yeah, I don't remember how good the movie is because I watched it a long time ago, but
Yeah.
it sounds interesting.
but in the Butterfly Effect way, wouldn't him saving his father kind of like mess up?
The
No.
timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to watch the movie again to see.
Changing the past doesn't change the
how that
future.
was.
Oh. Oh.
Does that count as a time loop thing? Endgame?
Endgame? No, I don't think that's
Well,
a
it's
time
not a loop.
That's
yeah.
just,
They just
time
back
travel.
in time.
Yeah.
There's
But-
a difference between a time travel movie and a time loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are the big ones for me.
Nice. I do appreciate we were talking about how like now a lot of horror movies I think are dipping into more fantastical premises because I think for a long time it was just like people go somewhere and someone kills them. But I like that now we have whether it's Happy Death Day or even there's that movie that came out I think last year called Freaky. It stars Vince Vaughn and it's
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's called. It's
I heard about
basically Freaky Friday,
Oh,
but he
yes.
swaps
Oh.
with like
With
a serial
girl.
killer. He swaps,
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
I
anyway,
saw the
it's
trailer.
it's supposed to be really good and funny.
It's supposed to be good. It
Yeah.
looked dumb.
But so did Happy Death Day. But that's what I'm saying. I think a lot
Yeah.
of these movies, like more high concept horror movies now, are like getting smarter and like interesting and fun, which is nice. I appreciate that. 'Cause
Yeah.
They're so fucking bad, most of them. So
Yeah.
it's good to get some good ones.
And also, like, slasher movies just don't do it for me.
Yeah. So you need something else on top of it because it's like why
Yeah.
like just killing is kind of like
I need like existential horror.
yeah.
Or sad horror, like Midnight Mass.
Yes.
That you guys should watch.
Yes.
I will.
We will.
Yeah, anything else about Palm Springs? Before we talk about, other things for another hour, and then we get
Well-
another YouTube comment being like, they didn't even talk about
Yeah,
the movie.
the number one Palm Springs fan is gonna come and be like, guys, I'm really
It'd be funny if
disappointed.
it was the same person.
Yeah.
Well, I have an idea, not specifically about Palm Springs, but just to round up our selection series.
Sure.
Do you guys want to, so for example, I'll ask you guys which of my two selection movies you would rather watch.
Ooh.
We can each do that. And I know
Sure.
it's hard to compare them, but just if you had to pick one that you want to sit down and watch at any given
It's
moment,
so hard for yours.
that's why I thought it'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Dan.
I can
Damn
like you
it.
guys can go first if you want. It doesn't really matter. We'll do it for all
What
three
was
of
your
us.
first selection, Marco?
Social network.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Drop the
Just social network.
just social
Okay.
network.
So who wants to
What
go
was
first?
my first selection? Mamma Mia.
Mamma
Mia.
Mia. Yeah, it was Mamma Mia.
I already have my answers.
I have my answers for your guys.
Sure, me too.
Okay.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Not it.
Okay, I'll go first.
Like going first is asking the other two for your movies.
Sure, not it.
Okay, fine. I'll go first.
Go ahead.
All right, which of my 2 movies?
Do you want to answer first, Carol?
Yeah. The Social Network.
Yeah.
I also say The Social Network.
Okay, fair enough.
Just
fair enough.
saves me time, you know.
I enjoyed
in my
both,
day.
but I think if I had to pick one to rewatch over and over again, it's The Social Network.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Social Network is definitely the easier rewatch of them too. Easier.
Yeah.
I probably enjoy rewatching Goodfellas more, but
Because
because of the Italian, just because I think I just like the world of it is like fun. But I also think Social Network is like the better one to rewatch because it's like it's quick. I mean, it's 2 hours, but like it feels quick. The dialogue is whip smart. The story is
exciting.
Exciting, and it's relevant. It's more relevant, obviously, than Goodfellas. Like Goodfellas is a thing that happened, but like we're so far removed from any of that that it's more like you're viewing it externally.
No, I found it very relatable.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Like, if you're Italian, it has those relatable elements.
Well, I was just kidding. Even that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, like Social Network. Obviously, like we are all like have Facebook accounts.
Yeah.
So to some and
Unfortunately.
like obviously we're still like inundated in the news about Mark Zuckerberg being a fucking weirdo. So like with barbecue sauce on his shelf or whatever. So like obviously that
Decorative
movie.
barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
You should fill your shelf.
Oh my
with
god, I
barbecue
should put a barbecue sauce. I 100% should. But yeah, I totally get that pick.
I'll go next, I
Yeah.
guess. So which one would you rather watch, Jurassic Park or My Cousin Vinny? Very different movies.
Very different. I'm gonna say Jurassic Park.
I think I'm gonna say My Cousin Vinny.
Okay.
It's fair.
I
It's
respect
fair.
that.
Yeah.
I personally would say Jurassic Park because that's my favorite movie
Yeah,
out
yeah,
of the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I enjoy thoroughly both. That's why I picked each of them for my selection. So.
Yeah. Okay, so now you guys, Mamma Mia or Palm Springs?
Palm Springs for me.
Oh, it's Mamma Mia for me.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
interesting.
Oh, I guess because your history.
I've rewatched Mamma Mia like 1,000 times. Of course, okay, but here's where it gets complicated. Is like we talked about. I really hate the last 20 minutes of Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
When the plot kicks in and it's like we have to deal with the feelings. Like
When it's
I
not
really
just
don't
singing
like.
ABBA
Yeah, when
music.
it's not just ABBA music. Like I don't like that part of it. But I think now that I know the twists and turns of Palm Springs.
Yeah.
Not that it wouldn't be enjoyable to rewatch, but I think I'd rather watch Mamma Mia.
See, and for myself, I honestly don't know. I was thinking about it because obviously I've seen Mamma Mia more simply
Yeah.
just because it's been out for so much longer. I think it would be Mamma Mia simply because, you know, it gives me an excuse to sing and like dance if I want or cry. But yeah, I guess just because now I've seen Mamma Mia like so many times, I was almost thinking like maybe it would be Palm Springs just because like I've worn Mamma Mia out, but like I haven't really. Like you could put it on
Yeah.
and I would never be like mad about it.
Yeah, totally understandable. Totally, yeah.
So I think mine would still be Mamma Mia, but
Nice.
yeah,
Okay.
cool. Good
And then
question.
next round we can do
Yeah,
it for all three
I
of
like
our
that.
movies.
3 movies.
When we get to more and more selections,
It'll
it's
get
gonna be
harder.
tough.
It's gonna
Yeah.
get harder.
Yeah,
So I
that's
wanna
gonna be
start it
fun.
now.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Establish
It's fun.
this.
It's fun.
Very smart idea. I'm excited.
I'm very excited already for our next
Yeah,
selection
when can we do
series.
our next selection series?
The whole podcast should just be selection series at this point.
Well, I mean,
It kind of is in a way, but like,
Well,
like,
yeah,
I
we
was
do
thinking
select
about it.
the
Yeah.
films.
I was thinking about this. Like, the selection episodes are conducted pretty similar to any episode. The only difference
Yeah.
is one of us specifically selects one movie because it's like either special to them or just particular to them in some way.
yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't do research for your guys' selections is the only difference.
I guess.
Yeah, because like we're all technically like to some degree experts
Yeah.
in our own
Yeah.
selections, just from
Wow.
Relative
osmosis.
to,
Yeah.
to the other episodes.
Yeah, for sure.
Just being into
Yeah.
it.
Just being into it.
But like the episode conducts itself pretty
Yeah.
much the same way.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
basically the same.
Well, do we know what's coming after this episode?
We don't.
No.
We have no idea.
We haven't talked.
We
about
ran
that.
out of our queue. We had a very long
Yeah, we had a
plan
very
for a
long
while.
queue.
Well, we have the list though.
We still have
so
the
we
list.
We haven't run out of that. Oh,
No.
aren't we gonna do the Matrix sequels?
Oh yeah, because it was episode number 23. Or, no, was it 30? Oh yeah,
Or is it
Trinity.
30.
Because it was something to do with Trinity.
Yes.
So yeah. He would.
Anyway, so next episode will be Matrix then. We know
Yeah,
that
I guess
much.
we can announce probably then that
Sure.
the episode after the Palm Spring, this episode,
Yes,
is
this
going to
episode
be
you're listening to.
a Matrix-centric episode.
It's gonna be a Matrix fiesta.
Yes.
We're talking about the Matrix cinematic universe.
And so that makes me watch the sequels before the new one, which I wasn't going to do, but like whatever, I can.
They're
Well,
really
you can
bad.
watch them after the new
Well,
one.
I'm sure you could, yeah.
Yeah.
But, you know, if
I'll
you
still
want to
watch
watch
them
them.
all.
Yeah.
Cool. One more editor's note. As you can see, we're nearing the end of the episode, so it's the last one. I promise. Just wanted to say the next episode will actually not be about The Matrix because Marco and Dan saw the new one and said it was really bad. I have not seen it, but that's okay. It saves me from watching 3 movies. So the next episode will be a surprise. Stay tuned. It'll probably be Promising Young Woman. Okay, thanks, bye. All right.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
Also, it's when you're listening to this, it'll be the new year, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Okay. So
Happy New Year.
We haven't said Happy New Year yet. for
Yeah,
any
I
of
probably
these.
will have been the new year for all of the
Yeah.
episodes.
Actually, yeah, that's
Happy
true.
belated New Year.
This will be like February.
Yeah.
It's like that Seinfeld bit where he's like, I once got Happy New Year in March. Can you believe that? All right.
Happy New Year. Thanks for listening.
As always,
Catch
Yes.
you on the flip side. I did it, guys.
we did it. Another successful episode of the podcast.